I bought myself a beautiful classic car, a 1950 Morgan Sportster, when I was in Perth, and I lived in Perth. And of course, with the Morgan, without the top on, without indicators, you have to indicate with your arm. So I'm in St. George's Terrace, and I'm turning, and this police car stops me. It follows me and stops me. And the cop comes, looks at me. I'm sitting very low on the ground, and this cop is really tall. He says to me, "You have no indicators, do you?" I said, "No, I don't have to have them. You know, the car is pre-1970, so I can use it the way it was made." And the Australian cop looks at me and says, "So you indicate like this and like this every time you have to turn?" And I say, "Yeah. Don't you get tired?" And then look at him and said, "I'm Italian. I'm Italian. What are you talking about? Go away." You threw me because you started to talk about something that is very, very serious. And so you reminded me of my anger. I'm just the shell of the young man that I was. I was very angry, very, very angry. Because you see, from 1971 to 1977, I worked for an NGO in Africa. And I was conned to believe that we were good people in Africa. And every single project that we touched did not sustain itself, and basically we killed everything we did. And I remember my very first project. I've written a book titled Ripples from the Zambezi, because my very first project, age 21, in 1971, was sending 5 Italian volunteers to teach Zambian people agriculture. In our idiocy, we thought that we Italians would teach the African people farming. So we sent these 5 Italians to Chirundu, this little pristine village by the Zambezi River, and these arrogant Italians arrive there, and they look at the fact that there is this beautiful land and they are not growing anything there. So with their infinite arrogance, instead of asking the native people why they were not growing anything, they simply said, "Thank God we're here. Thank God, because now we are going to teach people how to feed themselves." So we got the people from the village, they came, they cleared the land, planted these Italian vegetables and zucchini and tomatoes. And as soon as the tomatoes were ripe, overnight, some 200 hippos came out of the river and they ate everything. So then we said, "Oh, the hippos!" We turned to the Zambians, and the Zambian people are laughing so hard, they have tears down their faces. They're pointing at us, they're taking bets. They've been taking bets. Would the hippos beat the Italians to the crops, or would the Italians beat the hippos to the crops? Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. I thought, okay, it will never happen again. We made a mistake. We don't tell anybody what we've done in Zambia. We just go away. I studied commedia dell'arte. We don't tell anybody, but we're never going to make the same mistake. Wrong. We made the same mistake time and time and time again. Not only we made mistakes, but I saw what other countries were doing. I saw what the Americans were doing in Africa, what the Canadians were doing, what the English were doing, what the French were doing. And after seeing what they were doing, I became quite fond of our project in Zambia. Because you see, at least we fed the hippos. Somebody got a meal out of us. You should see what we've done. You want to read the book? Please use the book Dead Aid in your classes. Dambisa Moyo, Zambian woman economist, 2009, Dead Aid. We have given 50 50 billion American dollars to the African nation in the last 50 years. They're poorer now than before. How much money we have given to Aboriginal people in welfare? They're poorer now than 50 years ago. Have you seen what we've done to Aboriginal communities in Australia? Not in the past. No. Now. My life changed when I read Small is Beautiful by Ernest Schumacher. Because in chapter 13 of Small is Beautiful, Schumacher wrote, in economic development above all, if people do not wish to be helped, leave them alone. This should be the first principle of aid. The first principle of aid is respect. If you do not respect them, you cannot help them. And we always arrive uninvited to tell indigenous people what to do. How dare we? Schumacher said there is only one condition upon which you can work in a community, upon invitation. If they don't invite you, you're not supposed to go there. So age 27, heartbroken, morally bankrupt, I left Rome, Italy, to go and do a PhD, looking at responsive development. And I decided that in my life, I will never go anywhere unless the local people invite me. And I put it up there. I had to become the person that people wanted to invite. So that was what I wanted to do, age 27. And the rest of my life, I've been invited by people. Why? Because I've invented the methodology for economic development that is economic development 2.0. You remember the lovely lady with the guitar today? She said that there was country music 1.0 and there has to be country music 2.0. There has to be economic development 2.0. 1.0 is done by the expert top down. Economic development 2.0 is done through crowdsourcing. Millions of people doing beautiful what they love. So I invented a completely new profession, the enterprise facilitator, employed by the community, and this person for free and in confidence helps anybody who wants to do anything to do it so beautifully that she can feed her family, that they can form a cooperative to sell their own tuna to Japan instead to the shysters, corporate thieves in Australia. So what I did, I started to respond to people. I found this wonderful university professor, Peter Newman in Western Australia, professor of environmental sciences, who said to me, Ernesto, I cannot even start to understand what you're talking about. Tell me, how can I help you? That's what the professor does. And I said, I want to demonstrate that there is no geography to passion and no geography to intelligence. That anywhere in the world, if you shut up long enough and you make friends with the locals, they'll tell you what they want to do. And as soon as they tell you what they want to do, you say to them, do you need some help? Help? I'm dying of solitude. In my town, nobody believes me. I'm rotting in a garage on the outskirts of Esperance. I'm 55 years old. I have a passion. I know how to smoke fish. I'm smoking salmon and tuna in Esperance. I'm unemployed. The city council shut me down. I had set up a kiln in the garage. The city council shut me down. If you help me, I take a bullet for you. I don't want you to take a bullet for me, Maury. I want to help you, and if I help you, will you tell the people in Esperance what I've done for you? Because I believe there are lots of poor bastards dying of solitude in this community right now. And he said, Ernesto, I'll do anything to help you. You help me, I'll tell everybody that there is another way of doing things. In 3 months, 12 employees. I took his tuna. He didn't have the money to go to Perth, 7-hour drive. But I lived there, so I took his tuna to the best restaurants in Perth and they put the orders in. Having the orders, I went to a micro-lending company to say, we have all these orders, we need $4,000 to move the kiln from the garage to an empty space in the industrial park. Done. And then a guy sold a company called Skilled Engineering in Kalgoorlie for $27 million, was looking for investments. I took him down to meet my friend, Maury, in Esperance. And Alan Blood put $1 million behind the company. 12 employees. The Minister for Fishery came down, did the opening of the plant. Somebody in the audience said to me, Ernesto, can you help us? So I helped 5 fishermen to sell tuna to Tokyo at auction in the market. Instead of 60 cents, $15 a kilo. Then the farmers came to talk to me, said, if those idiots of fishermen have done that, we farmers should be ashamed of ourselves. We never work together, we never market what we do, we never add value. Can you work with us? 50 farmers together. And we found markets for the mutton. And another 27 farmers. At the end of 1 year, I had 27 projects. The government came to me to say, what the hell do you do? Do you have this magic, fairy dust you sprinkle over the head of people and they become entrepreneurs? I said, no, I do something that is much, much harder. I shut up and listen to them. I listened to them. And they looked at me and said, what? What? How can you listen to them? They are rural, isolated, marginalized, uneducated. How can you possibly trust them? The knowledge is with us in the university, in the cities. That's why we have invented extension. We have the knowledge and we extend the knowledge to the plebs. And you listen to the plebs? Are you crazy? I've done it 300 times. 300 communities around the world. Never give them a single idea, but die to make them successful. I train an army of enterprise facilitators, and the report about our enterprise facilitators in the Congo is just in. 3 years, 3 enterprise facilitators in the Eastern Congo. These guys are paid $300 a month salary. 190 new businesses, 770 employees, without giving them 1 cent in money. Not 1 cent. What do? We ask them, what can you do? We never met anybody who can do it, sell it, and look after the money. What do you love to do in your business? As soon as they say, oh, I like to breed chickens, we said, can you sell it? Oh no, I have a problem. I cannot go to the market. Would you like us to find somebody who will take the chicken on a bike from Camina to the market for 20% of the profit? She said, I would love that. Who do you know who understands money in your family? Nobody. Would you like us to find the accountant from the Methodist Church to come and help you with the books for free? Yes, please. She produced the chicken, the son-in-law sells it for 20% of the profit, and the accountant from the church looks after the money, and the business takes off. So now we are doing this in Arnhem Land. Never, ever tell them what to do, and never give them the money. Because the money they can generate. They were traders before we showed up in Arnhem Land. Do you know that, don't you? We stopped the pearl trading. We stopped them from selling pearls. So, there is a different method. First, you understand that people are wonderful, terrific, marvelous, and we've seen them today on this stage. And the story that they told us, people are glorious. And Mandela is right. We are magnificent. Some say that we are so good that we have even invented the gods. Okay? So we are absolutely extraordinary. In this audience right now, if you trusted me and tonight we could go to the pub and you tell me your dream, how many millions of dollars in this room alone exist? How many social enterprises? How many ventures? I have a minute and 44 seconds left. I want to leave you with this. Entrepreneur, as a word, has been stolen from us. Entrepreneur, the word entrepreneur is identical to the Italian word intraprendente. They are identical words. In Italian, the word intraprendente has nothing to do with business. Imagine the word entrepreneur and the word intraprendente are identical. In Italian culture, nothing to do with business. You know what the word intraprendente means? Is the one who, among others, gets it first. Entrepreneurship is about you inventing the future by seizing opportunities that nobody else can see. It's a good word. It's not a bad word. Repossess it. Use it. Thank you.